legends, welcome back to the channel. So if you've ever wondered what it's like to drop 20 kilos, change your life in 4 months and basically just change the whole trajectory of your lifestyle, then you've got to enjoy this one. Today we sat down with my client Josh, who's been working with me one-to-one for the last 4 or so months, and he's absolutely dominating in terms of what he's doing. So this is what it takes to drop 20 kilos, a little bit under the hood of what we do, etc. So enjoy. No, so guys, we're sat here today with Josh. We're going to be going through a little bit about his journey so far with working with me. We've been working together, about 4 months now?
About that, yeah.
About 4 months. And again, Josh has dropped incredibly, over 20 kilos now, 20 kilos, and he's absolutely changed the whole trajectory of his lifestyle, and we're going into some massive goals in 2025. So just give us a little bit of an overview of like a little bit of who you are, where you were before you started, or why you reached out, and we'll just take it from there, mate.
Yeah, no, thanks, mate. So yeah, as Lewis said, I've been a member with Tribe, working with Lewis since sort of early July. And I think for me, I'd got to, it was easily the sort of biggest I'd ever been. I have a family. I've got 2 young daughters. And both, well, the eldest one is 3, nearly 4. The youngest one's 1. So yeah, they take up a lot of time, a lot of energy. And I just got to the point where I'd ballooned. I'd got to the biggest I'd ever been. Trying to be around for them and chase after them, which is, if you've got young kids, you know what that's like. They're like whippets sometimes, they're off. And it was just getting me down. I got to the point where I'd just put on so much weight just without even necessarily thinking about it. And I'd gone through so many different things. I think a lot of people do as well. Gone through, your fad diets, as I kind of call them, your Slimming Worlds, your Weight Watchers. I joined Noom for a while, and I tried a lot of different things throughout many years, and for various or typically with various events in life in mind, like getting married and things like that. Tried different things to try and shift the weight. I've always been a bigger guy, but you do things like this for a very short period of time, or do things like that, should I say, for a very short period of time. And then as soon as you stop, it's just right back in the other direction. I just got to the point in my life where I thought, I need to make a change for me. I need to make a change to be there and be present for the family as well. So I came across your info on Instagram. I won't lie, through a love of a comedian who you'd been helping for various things, and I saw your info and I thought, you know what, I need to have a look at how do I do things differently, because everything I've done in the past has maybe worked in the short term but never really changed my lifestyle, like they all profess they're going to do, but they never really actually do. And I started looking into what you're about, the Tribe sort of coaching community, and what that sort of meant. I think I just sat there one evening. I thought, you know what, I've been putting it off. I'd been looking, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to message him and see if we can have a chat, see what it's all about. And you reached out. We met a couple of times, talked through a few things, messaged a lot about sort of what it was going to look like and how it can work. And boy, am I glad I did, because I've said it to you privately. I've said it in our sort of community conversations that we have as part of the Tribe group, that this last 4 and a bit months has changed my life. And I'm so grateful for it. I think that's why really we're here today, to go, look, if there's people like this in a similar situation to me who've been feeling like that, actually there's so much out there that you can do, and getting that kind of independent help from somebody else who can guide you and hold you accountable to the goals that you're setting just makes an awful lot of difference.
No, absolutely. You've absolutely killed it over like the last 4.5 months or 4 months or whatever it is. And I think a big thing is a lot of skepticism on coaching, and especially around the Instagram. And that's why, doing the likes of these and, showcasing people's journeys is important, because I said you can jump on Instagram and someone trying to grab your attention with like the strongest hook or polarizing view just to get you in there.
Mm.
Trust's a really, really big thing, and
Yeah.
I know the industry is like I said. I've helped Adam Rowe, who's a comedian here in the UK, and helped him lose over 15, 20 kilos as well. And that, in my opinion, was very difficult for him based on who he is because of his
Mm.
work and schedule and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, we understand like this thing works, and you said the right thing by just reaching out and speaking is the biggest thing. Whereas I think, I said, a lot of people are skeptical. A lot of people are worried about oh my God, am I going to be sold into this thing? Where
Mm.
realistically, it's about saying, listen, what do you do? Is it going to benefit me? Yes or no, and then you can make the decision on your own. I said, do you think like you were pressured into anything, or do you think it was pretty smooth?
No, absolutely not. Look, I'd never done. Like I said, I tried a lot of different things in the past to help me. I've never really been one for the gym either. Probably from a confidence perspective, of walking in there as a much bigger guy and seeing, perceived sort of gym freaks that were in there, pumping away, and I'm like little shell in comparison, even though was a much bigger guy. So I'd never really been one for that either. So I'd never really worked directly with a coach in any kind of capacity. So this was a big sort of step for me. And going through it all with you, it was more just a case of, look, these are what the options are. This is how I think I can help you. And where I think we can get you to, with the sort of hard work and dedication on it. But at no point was it a case of I'm pressured into doing it in any way. It was more just a case of, let's get to know each other. Let's see if we're gonna be able to have a relationship. I mean, what I do for work is basically managing customers and their expectations around the software that they use from my company. And it's very much the same thing. It's just a case of, we're all delivering for somebody else. So building that relationship and understanding whether and how we're going to integrate together, that's the biggest thing. Don't get me wrong, money's money, things cost money, that's life, everything costs money. But I can safely say that from an investment perspective, I'm investing in myself. And that's the most important thing, because when you're there present for you, you're there present for everybody else that's important in your life at the same time. So at no point did I sit there and think during the process, he's sold this dream and, I've got to do it now. It's still a choice that you consciously have to make to be able to take this step and be ready to take that step. But at no point was it a case of like, sign here, do this. It's got to be done. It was always done with utmost sort of professionalism in it. Of look, these are the options. Explain how it is, and go through and make sure it is going to fit, and we're going to be able to get along and have that relationship where you message me about something and I say, oh yeah, I know what he's talking about. Or if there's not that trust between you, then you're not necessarily going to get very far. But I think that's one of the biggest things for me in that is just the relationship that, and actually you've got to remember, you and I have never met face to face. We've never been in a room together yet. Yeah, it's coming, but we live different ends of the country. And that, again, I think is testament to what you do. I don't have to be in a room with you to make it work. I've got a busy life. I've got a busy job. I've got a busy family life. You've obviously got your, the business and the family life as well with Riva. And I think it's just a case of we have to find ways to make it fit into our existence. And I think that's what you did so well with me, is going, look, what can you commit to? How do we do it? And how do we achieve it based around your kind of setup? I'm sorry if I'm jumping into some of the other things you wanted to talk about, but I think it's important when you talk about that sort of understanding what the system looks like. And like you say, they're not feeling that pressure into doing anything. Actually, it's going through that process and kind of understanding from start to finish, how do I make this work? Because I think the perception sometimes is that you get a trainer, they're going to be like, right, be in the gym 5-6 times a week, just get in there, doing this, and it's not realistic. As I said, I've never really been one for the gym. So we work on something that suits me, that I can do a lot at home, in my own time. Once I put the kids to bed, just grab half an hour, 40 minutes to myself to go through the sort of strength sessions that we've set up, using equipment at home that I had, but ultimately wasn't a particularly large investment either. And, just managing within your means. And that for me is how, as well, this has worked so well, because I'm able to just fit it around my busy family life, and without impacting them and detracting from or distracting any of my attention from them at all either. Yeah, it's worked.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's working very well so far.
Oh, it's true. Like, that's why I'm a big preacher of, like, I honestly believe, because I've been there myself, and obviously I've helped hundreds of guys do exactly the same, which is nothing has to drop in order for you to succeed in any area, whether it's family, whether it's business, whether it's fitness, whatever it is. Like, I believe that they're all part of the same, like, synergy. So yes, you might have times where you're pushing your pull. So right now it might mean that, you're pushing with your fitness, which means that of course you've got to create capacity for that. But it's not going to be like, well, if I'm getting fit, that means I'm not going to see my family, or work drops off, or if work's busy, family drops off, or if family busy, fitness drops off. Like, it shouldn't be that so black and white.
Yeah.
And I said, like, I've said it before on many podcasts. If you go and watch the last one with Martin that I did, I get called like anti-fitness, because I'm exactly like that. It's not about going to the gym 7 days a week. Although, like, from my perspective, I train a lot, and I'm this hybrid athlete, and I'm running and I'm lifting, and I'm sure we'll get into that as well. But it's not. It's about meeting you where you're at, and then building on top of that. So I was going to come on to that now. Obviously, we start off by saying, well, you're training at home. You've got 45 minutes to train 3 times a week. Absolutely fine. Now we've started to unlock new doors into, like, what the possibility is because of the confidence that you're building. Just walk us through, the next plan going into the back end of the year and into 2025.
Yeah, so we kind of started, as you say, with sort of 3 strength sessions a week, 35, 45 minutes just at home, using what I've got. And then obviously there was that appetite, I think, as I started to then build the strength and the weight started to come off, to go, what next? And where do we go? And, within the community, there's so many people obviously at different points in their journey, and so many achieving all these amazing things. And I never would have sat there, the first day that you and I connected and we spoke about it. If we talked about me running any form of distance, I'd have laughed in your face, and just gone, no, don't be silly. And I see the rest of the tribe team doing these amazing things, doing the Hyroxes, doing half marathons, full marathons, 10Ks, 5Ks, whatever it may be, achieving all these amazing things. And when you see that and you're part of it, because everyone is so connected in terms of, I think what people need to also understand is, it's not just having Lewis on the other end of the phone, on the end of the app to talk to and work through, and you're filling out your sort of daily habits and what have you. There's also this whole community that he's built that are so supportive of one another, that we all communicate into, on a regular basis, as much or as little as you kind of feel comfortable with. And just through doing that, you just build that kind of, actually, I can drive myself here. I want to do more. So, we started talking about what we can do. And the plan kind of moving into the end of the year started within the last couple of weeks, just getting out on my feet, getting out, doing some runs. Great little guide Lewis sent over to go through sort of how we build up to sort of running a 5K solidly. And then next year, the big plan is, let's push on and let's see what we can do. See if we've got a half marathon we can get in the books, and start thinking through that. So it's, the goals will always change. What you have the capacity to do will always change, based upon other factors. One of the things you mentioned so often is spinning those plates. Being a human is like a circus act. You've got so many different things going on that you have to try and balance and manage and make sure that you're doing at the right times. And so it's just about where this has worked so well for me, is looking at what can I balance, how do I balance it, and how do I get it right and keep everything going at the same time, while throwing new things in, and that's the big plan. We just keep pushing. We've dropped sort of over 20 kilos so far. the big plan is about the same again to go. So we've got a lot to work at in the next as we move into the end of the year and into 2025. Push that forward. Love to get a half marathon in the books, and then work towards a full one, and just push myself to achieve things. You talked to me on the 1st of July. We started this, I think, on the 8th. As I said a moment ago, if you turned to me on that 1st of July and said, one day you're going to be thinking about running a marathon, never happened. And that's why I say to Lewis quite often on this, that it's changing my life in terms of what I feel I can do, in terms of the energy I've got to mentally go at things and do different things and push myself into directions that I never would have thought possible. And it's all testament to having kind of done this and made that, taken that leap of faith, as it were, into something I'd never done before. Have built that sort of understanding of what it was and how it was going to help me.
No, it's amazing. That's it. Two things with that. It's like my favorite quote is that a high tide lifts all boats. So when you're surrounded by good people, good things happen. Like everyone's elevated, no one's left behind, in the sense of that, like no one loses. So like being inspired and motivated around these people is really, really good. And sometimes comparison can creep in as well. But I'm massively involved with like you versus you. Some people are further ahead than you on their journey. Some people might be behind you on their journey. It doesn't matter as long as you're unlocking these new doors. And like the big thing I want to point out, and the reason that I'm jumping on a call now is because I think sometimes people can't see, like, if you were to lose the 40 kilos that you are going to and go, Josh lost 40 kilos, everyone would be like, wow. But that's such a wide spectrum of like how long it took or whatever. Whereas it's been 4 months. Like and in that time frame, yes, you've dropped body fat. Yes, you are, your lifestyle's completely changed, and yes, you're starting to get out and running. You're doing all these things in my opinion, that short time frame, and it's all about just breaking it down into them segments of like 30 days. And I say to people, it's like the industry, same sort of thing, is that people are trying to sell you into these big things, like sign up for a year and blah blah blah. And I get that for like commitments and wanting to change your life. I think a life can be changed over 12 months as opposed to like 3 months or 6 months or whatever. But you just have to do it by doing the first 30 days, meeting you where you are, starting the process, building on the next 30 days. And it's just in 30-day segments. And you turn around 4 months later and you're exactly where you are, mate. So you're a testament to like, absolutely getting after it, and absolutely ideal person to work with. And again, that's why it's such a good relationship, because coaching is relationships. It's not transactional. So
I think that's the thing, isn't it? You look at it on the basis of, and I've said it myself in the past, I'll start tomorrow. I'll start Monday. I'll start next week. And obviously at this point of the year, as we all know, I'll start in January. When I come back in January, I'll just get started. If I'd sat there, I think I reached out to you on a Wednesday to start talking, and by the Monday we were going, because we'd obviously gone through the process to do it. But I could have sat there and gone, well, it's early July. Do you know what? I'll start in August. If you want to make this kind of change, you just got to go into it. You've got nothing to lose starting today. Just building that foundation and moving into, what you can achieve in that period of time. Even when we started, if you turn around to me and said, look, we know what the big goal is, but in 4 months' time, you and you are going to be talking and you'll have lost half of that already. Again, would I have believed it? Probably not. But here we are. And actually, we have achieved it, and we're going to achieve the next bit, and we're going to set the next goal. We're going to achieve the next goal, and we're just going to keep pushing, because that's, we're found our feet, built that foundation in that period of time, and now we build on it. And we keep going. So, I think if I can say anything to anybody, if it's something you're looking at and you're interested in and you think it's going to be able to help you, get stuck in straight away. You don't have to fly straight off the bat. Just build that foundation.
That's a great point. That's it. Like every year is going to have Christmas, a birthday, a busy period in work, a illness, Easter, a Halloween, insert whatever you want, holidays. Like people always said to me, like, oh, you've got the baby coming, like, should you be planning in Hyroxes and planning all this stuff? I'm like, yeah, because no matter what's going to happen, it's going to happen anyway. So I can either summon to the fact that things might change and things that obviously have changed in the same way if there's Christmas coming up at this time of year after recording,
Mm.
or if there's a holiday coming up or whatever, there's always going to be things in the diary, and it's about going, what can I do based on what I've got? So a lot of the
Yeah.
things we're doing towards the back end of the year is, we've got 4 weeks before we basically break up for Christmas as if we were in school.
Mm.
We can make some good changes in 4 weeks. Yes, take the foot off the gas over Christmas, but then in the new year, we're back again. And then there will be something that pops up and work will become busy again, and you have to maneuver that, and the kids will get sick and you have to maneuver that. And whatever happens, life is just about maneuvering. And again, I love quotes. One quote that I stick with recently is, beyond the mountains are more mountains.
Mm.
So you always think that once you get to a certain position, that's it. Unfortunately, that's not what happens in life. You have to just keep going. Well, I'm at the top of the mountain now. I'm sure there's going to be a dip at some point because there's going to be another mountain that I've got to climb. So,
Mm.
as you said, break it down. You don't have to fly in it. I like that, because people assume if I'm doing this thing, I have to go full pelt and I need to do it as quickly as possible. Whereas my angle is, meet you where you're currently at. What can you do in this phase of things? And then how do you build on top of that? And before you know it, you're going from wanting to lose 4 kilos to losing 20, to then now looking at possibility of doing a marathon.
Mm.
Like that's what happens as part of the the process, as people always say. So
Yeah.
you're absolutely testing that. And anything to add to that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think, you mentioned a good point about you're always gonna have different things. Like I said, I started in July. We've had family birthdays. We've had my daughter's first birthday. We've had anniversaries, loads of different events. And I think what works really well, and when you're working and with someone like Lewis and you're holding yourself and he's helping hold you accountable, you also get in that kind of mindset of making those right decisions. And I think obviously for so many people, myself included, food is such a big part of life. I'm just terrible for a takeaway. Like if you stick a kebab in my face, I'll just go on, see you later. You might as well take your hand with it, because I'll be gone. And I think it's just more that sort of having that sort of accountability to somebody else as well as yourself at that point, in terms of exactly what we're going to do. Looks at it on that basis of, let's plan in where we're going to go. If we know we've got an event coming up, how do we manage that? Or how do you make what is a smarter choice when you're doing something? You're still going to enjoy yourself, but how do I make a smarter choice in terms of what I'm doing and what I'm consuming and things? And I think that's the other big thing I've sort of found in this. And obviously, again, everybody's different, but at no point have I ever really felt like I'm dieting, because we come up with your plan. You're sort of, was it 2+1 or whatever you kind of call it, from the food perspective. And I eat stuff I enjoy every day. And I think that's where people get afraid. Think, I'm going to have to do this thing, and I'm going to have to be eating salad all day long and what have you. And again, you've just heard that I would devour a kebab right now. But if someone stuck a plate of salad in front of me, no thanks. I don't sit there and eat like a rabbit. I know what I've got, my budget-wise, food-wise. I know what targets I've got to aim for from various protein consumptions and things like that. And you plan, and you just look at it and work it all out, and find what works for you. I settled on a few things that I just rotate between breakfast and lunch-wise to keep that sort of freshness, but I know that I'm getting the right sort of balance from. And then I think family dinners, we eat what we do as a family. We've got young kids and they're fussy, so we have to kind of just be sensible about what we eat, but we factor it in. And like I say, at no point I've ever sat there and thought, do you know what, this feels like a diet. And I've done diets and they've not worked. This, with adding then in the other structure to it around the trainings, around getting out, just being a bit more active, it's worked wonders in that sense. So like I say, just reach out, find out how it's going to fit for you, how it's going to work in around what you can do, and just find your way with it, because there's so much you can achieve. You just got to have someone sometimes help you unlock those doors to do it, and that's what Lewis has done for me. And I couldn't be happier in terms of where we're going, and clear on the journey we're going to take to get to the big sort of end result that we've got set out next year. So.
No, look, that makes sense. And again, I think that's a very good way to end it. Like, Yeah, I didn't bring you on this to start, building myself up and stuff like that. It's just talk through your journey, but I said you've absolutely smashed it. You're a testament to what you're doing. Again, that 2+1 approach, there is a video. I'll put it somewhere on this page about like what we did. I did a video on it, so I'll explain a little bit more about that. But yeah, mate, I just want to say massive well done. Let's jump back on a call in a few months' time and see what else we've unlocked in that time frame.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool.
Hopefully, then it will be even thinner. We'll see.
Yeah. I'm sure it will. And again, you might have you'll have a pair of Oakley sunglasses on, some running gear. You'll be like, oh, full marathon out. So,
See me there.
no, I appreciate it. And
Yeah, no worries.
I'll catch you.
Yeah.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, mate.